All right, what up, my devil? Sensei-tutum here with another video for you. So, this is Monday, not Thursday. I was busy last week. Family out of town came in. I'll be busy next week as well. Not that I won't be super busy this week being prepared for next week. I'm leaving town again. So, I'm going to hit you with some more content this week than you're used to. I'm going to hit you today. I'm going to probably hit you tomorrow, the next day, and then I'll hit you the day after that. So, I had promised last week for my video that I was going to talk about volume as it relates to Elliott Wave, which I've got a lot of in-depth content about that in my applied series, for instance. So if you're an educational member, you have full access to that. My applied series on the Vimeo, check that out. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, you want to look at some higher level shit, shoot me a DM. It's on the Vimeo, my applied Elliott Wave series. Anyway, but I'm going to do a video, but for the members in relation to that and the application of it in this current market on Bitcoin. Unfortunately, when I do that, it's going to be an educational members only, so the audience is going to be kind of limited. With the events of the markets of the past couple days, I think it's just prudent, and I owe it to the few of you that do care about my opinion that are not educational members to give it to you, and not to mention going in depth and volume isn't going to talk about all the markets. So we're going to talk about all the markets. We're going to start with Bitcoin. But there's some important shit we got to talk about, just like has been in the last 3 times where we're talking about all these markets and how things that I was talking about are playing out, how we can take advantage of them, and how we could have already taken advantage of them, and how maybe we should have already done that if you had listened a little bit to what I was talking about. But of course not, necessarily from a trading perspective, although you could. So Bitcoin. My last update was basically, we've had a decent bit of price action since then, so I took it off the chart, but it was either I'll just throw it on there loosely so that you can see it. W, X, Y, X, Z, that's what it would have been, and then I think I had something like this, oops, and this has been there since like last week. And Sam might have talked about this in his video. We had to talk about it before we recorded, so he may have mentioned that we discussed this, but yeah, so it's basically corrective or corrective-like structure finishing up. And I hate to tell you, man, nothing has still changed. Nothing has changed here, which is kind of funny to me because either way, we have a pattern finishing. And I see all these people on Twitter, and I don't even follow anybody on Twitter. I just follow TDU family and a couple other people that I respect, like, I don't know, Tom Lee, or I don't know, a couple other traders. Anyway, I don't really follow anybody on Twitter. And when I do go on there, and the very rare occasions that maybe I'm trying to post or something, I see from either side, I get a lot of recommended because I don't follow people, and it's annoying to me. But or maybe everybody gets a lot of recommended. But I feel like basically they have to fill my timeline up because I don't follow anyone. And I see all this shit from the crypto community about people that are like, bulls are gonna be so sad, and bears are, asking for it, and they're like going back and forth, and it's like every time we get to an area of uncertainty in the market, this shit happens, and you guys are fucking silly. This is why I do not get on Twitter. This is, honestly, every time I think about Twitter and you guys see me post on Twitter, it's because I first thought about deleting the shit. I hate it. I hate social media, and crypto Twitter, even the guys that I love on there, you guys that are in the TDU family, like a lot of the times the shit anybody says is just gross. Anyway, yeah, so I still don't get strongly convicted people right now, but I really don't get the strongly convicted that we're going to drop off the face of the planet right now people, right? Because we could. Absolutely, we could. We've been fucking around at this level now for, we'll just say in this range now for, I hate that ruler, 61 days, a little over 2 months on this area, right? And we've been, in addition to that, let's just go back to this one because it won't delete. Fucking around in this area, even let's say we've been moving down. How about that? We've been moving down for, this isn't as easy to read. 476 bars, 19 days, 20 hours. There you go. 19 days, 20 hours. We've been moving down in a trend without really any, not really any, without any external retracements. I mean, it happens, guys. It does happen where you sort of just trickle down and it just falls off a cliff. You know, the news today is talking about because the markets are crashing. Oh, let's worry about the Delta variant. Bullshit. This is on the charts. Bullshit. Like nothing out of expectation is happening here. But maybe something big does happen with the variant and some shit drops hard. That happens. But I mean, that would be outside of expectation. That just doesn't happen very often. So when we've had a downward move in a downward market, the trend is down, but we've had let's say a 20-day, what did we say it was? 20-day drop without any external retracements. We at least need to have an external retracement. So it's just nuts to me that folks think it's going to drop off the face of the earth now. Again, it can, but I think in all likelihood, posted this for the members. Shit, it feels like years ago now, something like this. And to be honest, I feel no different. This is really ugly. This is really hard to count. It feels more corrective than motive. It's certainly not motive. It's either a diagonal or it's a multiple zigzags of some type, and it's hard to get a count out of either. But they're there, and that is usually anybody who's not isn't sure what a diagonal is or Elliott Wave in general, you have to at least know the basics of Elliott Waves, market trends in 5s, corrects in 3s. We have these things called diagonals. That is a motive wave that trends the market, but it's comprised of, because they happen in times of market uncertainty, that it does advance the market, but it's comprised of corrective actionary waves within. So if you understand what that means, that's good. If not, I'm not sure what to tell you. But in any event, it's not a time of price expansion. Anybody can understand that. Price has not been expanding. We are moving down and have continued to do so. But every time we do, we make a marginally lower low, right? So down, up, marginally lower low. Lower, then we move up again. Lower, marginally higher high or higher low. And then down again, marginally lower low, marginally lower high, or marginally higher high, marginally lower. It's just basically, which is where you get the diagonal from. And it very well could be one of those. I'm not going to say which one. I think I will. I think I already did. I think it's corrective. I think this is more corrective. But price is contracting. And even if it's a diagonal, that would mean that it's a 1 or an A, and likely in this scenario it would be a 1. But you would still expect it. It's one of the traits of a leading diagonal, they say, although I often see they have very shallow retracements. They either, in my experience, as a leading diagonal, which I never bet on, by the way, my members know this, I say if you bet on, i.e. trade based on directly inserting a leading diagonal into your analysis, you're asking for trouble. But in my experience, they either do correct quite deep, like you might see from Elliott or Elliott Wave Institute, the people that wrote the book, as we call it, the book, Frost and Prechter. But what you also see, almost just as much, I'd say, especially in our current market environments, and this is really more on the bull side, but you see on the bear side too, just because you see these more on the bull side, I think. Anyway, you get a very shallow retrace and then a silly dilly out of it. So I just like to say, why don't you just expect, the 50 to the 618 like every other damn thing. So if we're going to say, even if it's a leading diagonal, we should still expect a correction to this area before anything like that. So, bears, don't rush yourselves. Bulls, bears, I don't know why you guys get mad at each other. Like, seriously, like, if you're a bull, you should be happy that there's bears because they're selling to you. And if you're a bear, you should be happy there's bulls because they're buying your shorts. You know what I mean? So you guys are actually like helping one another. but you're so philosophically opposed that you throw shade. In any event, yeah, I think that we do, analyzing this a million different ways from Sunday. We won't get into the volume component once again, I say, but I believe that we will probably. And I say probably, it's so janky in here. This is not high quality trading. There's no high probability outcomes and as you're a trader, that's all you care about. But, I know that you crypto people want to know what you think price is going to do next. We're going to stay internal to this sideways bullshit, and I think that we'll probably come up here and test the 39.40. Make it like a 1-to-1 off here. Could it be done? Yes, it absolutely could be done. This low could be in. Divergence, divergence, divergence. Very nice divergence on these two pivots. I haven't bought any Bitcoin today. I haven't bought I'm not trading this right now. I would personally need to see if I get a nice perfect 5 waves off this low and a 3-wave retrace. That's a beautiful trade for me, but I'm not buying this right now. I'm pretty sure I have bought at other junctures within here where I thought it was higher quality potential. Like this is a nice, decent little pivot where I, bought and then sold pivots because, if you can see the market's about to turn, you buy it. And I posted this for members. You buy it, it bounces hard, boom. You've guaranteed at least a break-even trade. And if it goes in your direction, you make a lot of money, or you just take a small profit, which is what has happened. But I haven't taken any losers on the way down. But I bought once or twice. I have not yet today. Not to say I won't after this video. I don't think so, because again, I'm very busy this week. So after this video, I've got some shit to do away from the computer. All right, so that's Bitcoin. It's a mess. Nothing high quality in here. I'm sure that's what Sam's told you, but if I'm a betting man, and I am, I'm gonna say we're gonna come back up here and test at least 38.5 ish, maybe this high, 40, 38, 40, something like that, and we'll see from there. If you remember, I've got counts out there where this is the low, right? That was kind of actually the primary for me, just straight up count wise. The way we got there, the way it looked, I didn't actually love, but yeah. I didn't project it this high. I projected it a decent bit lower once we made the 30, and it was clear that we needed one more actionary. This was quite short, and that could be one of the reasons why we're fucking about forever, because what you don't pay for, a good guy, good friend of Trade Devils, Quan, some of you might remember him, used to say, if you don't pay for it in price, you pay for it in time. Well, we're fucking paying for this little guy in time right now. All right, moving on. So we've had a big week in the markets. Remember I talked to you about the TNX and how I told you that I thought we might bounce here, go up, test this, and break below. Once we broke below, it was clear to me that when we did reverse, we would reject from this critical level. And it's not rocket science. It's just an important level. Lots of pivots on it along the way. And usually these are more zones, but I like to draw lines, keep the chart semi-clean. And what do? We fucking rejected hard, opened the week with a big gap, and then followed through on the day. So if you remembered how I explained how yields, it's the TNX, the 10-year treasury note yields. So if you had gone long, say, the ZN, which is the 10-year bond futures, if you had gone long this, well, you would have made some fucking money, right? So I pointed it out for you guys. But what's more important for more like, I think, guys that listen to me, how does this affect Bitcoin? Again, I explained how it relates to gold. And I told you this is falling sharply. When the dollar and this fall sharply together, which the dollars, it was actually kind of mooning in the morning, but it quickly consolidated back and put in a little doji. Actually, no, that's not a doji. That's sort of a shooting star. Not really. I'm not a big candle guy anyway, so I don't want to. I've thought about candles in a while, so I don't want to go throwing out terms and then getting a guy in the comments that likes candles. Anyway, we have a nice rejection wick on this candle. This 2-day chart. Let's put it back to the 1 day. Oh yeah, it's kind of a doji. Spinning top. Star, and then of course this just opened. So yeah, we look like we're putting in some sort of a diag. You know, I had the C up here, you know, just into this area, 93, you know, maybe up here to 94. I doubt it. But you know, this is kind of getting it's moved down hard out of the way now, which kind of sucks, because when this shoots down and this shoots down at the same time, we know that highly correlates to a rebound in gold prices. But when this is happening, the yields are going down. This means that the issuers of bonds are lowering the interest rate because they know there's more buyers. And that's why the prices are going up, right? So these are the safe haven assets, bonds. Considering it's not quite safe haven. It is safe haven and related to equities because they're supposed to sort of be inverse, as they've shown to be today. But gold is also a safe haven. And like I told you guys, when this does shoots down really hard, gold will often go with it a bit, and as it did here since last Friday. But now it has already begun to rebound. We have held the 1800 level. I mean, it's not super clear. Still like this countdown to the low here, but right now this environment is shaping up nicely for gold. And you know, hopefully, potentially, Bitcoin, because you know. But one thing is to note is, like I said, this is getting a lot of its move out of the way. So maybe they don't fall super hard. You know, maybe yields naturally rise if the dollar does fall out of this rising wedge, ending diag, whatever you want to call it. But one thing to note is that we are coming up on a 50 on the yields. They should respect that. So I do expect a bounce here, and it's showing divergence. It's showing a potential for divergence, I should say. It would have to bounce to actually show any. But yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily say that we're going to get the mooning, the exact right recipe just yet. But this thing is now rejected. It's on its way down. It should probably continue to do so. This thing is still like it's running out of steam and hasn't fallen out yet. But you know, downward trend resumes to finish down here pretty soon. So this is all working out now, all according to plan. So if we go over to the S, what happened? They're running out of the markets. I guess they're scared of COVID, Delta variant, you know, or it was just in the fucking charts. I mean, if you look on I went on ABC News website today when I saw a headline that markets crash in fear of COVID fears. And it's like no, they didn't. At least I don't think so. So yeah, if you were paying attention, you had a pretty obvious setup long here. If you like to catch knives, personally I do. I think calling tops is for idiots. I think catching knives is for skilled people. So I bought some option contracts down here, and I'm not ashamed to say I had to close them before close because I needed price to be above this level for me to feel comfortable holding them overnight. And they don't trade extended hours, for those of you that don't know that. And they were about to break, but I just stuck to my guns, trying to be smart. And of course, they at 4 minutes after market close, it shot up above my level there, and they would have been quite profitable at this point. Oh well, let's see if it holds in the morning. So the two options we have are zigzag or impulse in play. This is much more typical of an impulse in play here. But I'm going to say I think that it's a zigzag. Why? Because of the market. Because the way it always looks. This is the way it looks. You know, sharp sells. The market ends in sharp sell-offs like this. A lot of times we do have nice little one-to-ones and all, but very well could be this impulse. But that's probably what everyone's looking for, and the market just doesn't like to do what everybody, what the crowd thinks. So, and I've seen enough of these sharp sell-offs that just rallied all to new all-time highs that I'm not gonna go against it right now. I very much, you know, as an Elliottian, I see that this is super typical for a three-wave, wave 3 within an impulse to then play out for the white count, which would then be an A or a 1. So B, C, 2, 3, right? But seen this too many times, too many top callers, too many people are looking for this, and we're looking for it, so it ain't gonna happen. Which means we're gonna see this rebound. We're gonna see the yields. We're gonna see these yields rebound. Maybe they'll test this 50, start to rebound, fuck around sideways, consolidate before we have the next big drop. Now, anybody that knows my, and I say this every time I talk about it, knows my ES and SPX, XPY counts, knows that I've got a market top coming. But I'll never bet on that market top, right? And I don't remember exactly what I don't remember my top calls. Maybe if one of you guys do. I did top calls for just for shits and giggles for you guys. I hate calling tops. I think it's stupid. Again, I like catching knives though, and I think that because you can do it fairly reliably, in my opinion, which you cannot call tops reliably. And I think that a lot of people on Twitter are going to prove that point in a few days, maybe a couple weeks, when we make a new all-time high and they call tops again, and they call tops here, 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 and they call tops here. It's, I hate Twitter. In any event, this is important, boys. This is big. This was a nice trade. Still could be an opportunity for you as well as myself to get back in. Perfect little impulse off the low. If we can put it in a beautiful three-wave, I'll go, I won't say it, super fucking hard, and take that 3C all day. So there you go. There's a trade call for you. If here's your call. If your analysis shows 5 perfect swings off the low and 3 perfect swings off the high, take a long. If your analysis shows those things, there's my trade call for you. All right, boys. I think that's it for today. And there's no reason to even talk about any of this shit. These are alts, right? This is really what's important, boys. This is what's going to control it. And when this happens and this dollar drops and these yields continue down, I think that's a bullish environment for Bitcoin. I do. I don't know when they're going to start trending nicely together and not just going panic drops, because panic drops kind of throw things off. But I do believe that this environment that we were talking about a couple weeks ago is setting up. So there we go. All right, boys.